the Dabs and Show with myself, the Terp CPA.
And myself, the Prophet. Here today, we're going to be talking about the up-and-coming season. We got 7 more episodes after this one, 8 total. We're going to be putting out a couple different episodes a month. Going to range anywhere from dabs and donuts to dabs and Doritos. There's going to be a couple different types of dabs and debate, or different types of dabs and data points. The idea is to educate people on the world of concentrates, dabs, different forms of concentrate consumption, and bring more awareness to this new and very, very convenient and economical approach to cannabis consumption.
And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're educating the public on both what they're consuming as well as how to go about this business the right way. Making sure that you're avoiding problems with the IRS. That's where I'm coming in, because I'm going to help with the data points, making sure that you're making on top of all your different tax returns, all your different liabilities, and making sure that you're out of the pain of the sites of the MRA and the IRS, because no one deserves that, no one needs that. I mean, there's been too much struggle in this business and in this industry as it is to have the government coming in and hurting people the way they are. So I want to make sure that I help people avoid that pain.
And with that being said, we're going to move into our first list of episodes, and that's dabs and Doritos. So, a little bit about the dabs and Doritos episode, as we were thinking of, what would be the ideal idea for a first, debut podcast, show, and we thought to ourselves, why not pair different types of dab concentrate strains with different types of flavors of Doritos? Because I'm a big fan of Doritos, and every time I get a little too lit, I eat a lot of Doritos. So this is why I know that so many different flavors exist.
Well, and of course, I went out and got the Doritos and was like, okay, what kind of wacky, crazy flavors can I get? And then I come across tangy pickle, and I want to say one of them spicy ranch. Like, some of these flavors to me don't even make sense. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to pair with some of these dabs right now. Right now, you want to tell them about the dab that we're enjoying, or do we want to just...
Yes, so right now we are enjoying ourselves some strawberry cookie glue.
So we're enjoying ourselves some strawberry cookie glue.
Provided by sponsors, Volcano Concentrates. Please throw them a follow on Insta.
Yes, exactly. Volcano Concentrates.
You see all the
stuff is beautiful. So many terpene notes. To me, what really comes out is the strawberry and the glue. Those are some of my favorite flavors, and the way they come out and just, oh my gosh, hit your tongue, and it's so smooth. It's just immaculate. So
it's very real, and you'll see all the concentrates that we consume on the show are provided free of charge from Volcano Concentrates. Like I said before, please give them a follow on Instagram, and look forward to the Dabs and Doritos episodes. Please like, follow, share, so you can get notified when the Dabs and Doritos episode comes out. And if you have any type of wacky different Doritos flavors, stuff that maybe we didn't think of, or things that you want us to try while we do it during our tasting, please tell us, and we'll go out and buy it, and we'll do it in the tasting. Leave it in the comments, direct message us, and we'll definitely use that in the video.
Data is going to be incorporated into every episode. Because I am the Terp CPA, I'm going to be making sure I share data points related to various tax topics, or related to how to do your accounting in the first place, because there's no reason that companies out here are doing their accounting incorrectly, because the pain that it causes, the amount of money you have to spend to fix all that isn't really necessary in my opinion. So I really want to make sure that I help people avoid that. So data is going to be a part of a little bit of every episode. I know it's not the most fun thing. I know everybody would rather talk about Doritos, donuts, and dabs, but at the same time, data is just as important, just to make sure that you keep out of the pain with the MRA and the IRS. Just as Paul the Prophet here, because at the same time, he may be...
He knows. Trust me when I say this. He knows.
He may be
you
the
think
prophet.
You know, you don't know. He knows.
He may be the prophet, but he knows his data at the same time and knows when someone's doing it right. So one of our next episodes after that is going to be Dabs and Donuts. So as you see here, we have an entire dozen of donuts. what we're going to do is we're going to take various kinds of dabs provided to us by volcano extracts, or volcano concentrates, I apologize, and we're going to pair them with different donuts. Like strawberry cookie glue, I don't know, to me, might pair really well with this jelly one right here. But at the same time, Paul the Prophet over here could be like, nah. I actually think it pairs better with this cinnamon at the same time. So it's going to be a little bit of a debate at the same time, a little bit of dabs, a little bit of donuts, a little bit of debate. It's going to be a whole lot of mixed bag, but it's going to be a good conversation. We want to make sure that people are getting educated and learning something fun at the same time. So for our next episode, do you want to go into this next one, episode 5?
Yes.
Because I know
Kid in all of us, okay? We're going to talk about dabs and dinosaurs. I'm so excited about this because I'm a huge fan of dinosaurs. And there's a good population of people in the world I've come to find that don't believe dinosaurs existed. So we're going to talk about that too a little bit because that is very intriguing. And please, with any of the episodes that we've named off, whether it's the donuts episode or the debate episode or even the dinosaurs episode, like we said in the Doritos episode, if you have any ideas for different types of donuts that we should try, different types of strains that you think are just the tastiest strains ever that we could acquire to have on the show to pair in with our different types of foods or edibles or things that we're bringing out of the show, please hit them in the comments section. We always love getting ideas from people. Always things that there could be that we could potentially miss. And in the dinosaurs episode especially, diving into different types of dinosaurs, different types of dabs. You know, if I was a Tyrannosaurus Rex, as a Tyrannosaurus Rex, what kind of dabs would I like? You know, small hands. You know, big head, small hands. What kind of dinosaurs would a T-Rex like? You know, or a Velociraptor. You know, you think they'd be in really uppity, you know, supposed sativas, you know, or would you think, you know, Velociraptor would like, you know, a nice calm, you know, couch bud, you know, who knows? They might like dabs. They might like smoking weed. We're gonna find out. We're gonna analyze this through our database of the episode and find out.
I mean, what you made me think of, honestly, was a Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to hit a bong. So can you imagine that shit? Just like their little tiny arms just, all right, give someone like this.
Hey, Gary!
Give someone pull it, please, pull it. And it's just getting yellow. And they're time. You got the Stegosaurus coming over. You want to hit some weed, bro? Yeah, heck yeah. We're going to hit on the bone.
I'm dying.
I can't do that shit.
I can't do it anymore. I'm going to go home.
So yeah, we got dabs and dinosaurs. Definitely another good episode coming up. And it's going to be an all sorts of all over the place kind of episode. The next episode is going to be we're hoping to be a upcoming series, which is Dabs and Dinner. So we're here over here in Michigan, and we want to go around and we want to try various places in Michigan that pair with really good dabs, and at the same time highlight these local restaurants and these eating establishments that have been struggling throughout this pandemic, because we want to make sure to give back to them, because there's no reason that we shouldn't, because these guys have provided so much of a light to the world. Because I know, to me, food is a light. It is a very positive thing in my life. So I want to make sure that we give back to these eateries, that we do highlight various local places. And at the same time, what we can do is, if it comes down to it and someone has some great suggestions in the comments and the DMs of other places that we should go check out, then we'd be more than happy to do that, because we want to make sure that we're supporting all sorts of businesses here in Michigan, not just the cannabis industry, because that's very important to us to make sure that we're building a stronger Michigan at the same time.
Exactly. We want to showcase the people who show up to work and to contribute to society in some of the most positive ways. Because like Tyler was saying, it's a real freedom to go out into the world and be served by someone. We want to showcase these hardworking Americans and give back to them. And like we said before, if there's any restaurants, I'm a huge foodie. If there's any restaurants that anybody wants us to showcase, or it needs to be, hyped to the top of the list because they got the best food, or there's any circumstance, please comment, because I'm a big eatery fan. You don't get this way overnight. You got to work at it. I'm a huge fan of food, and I definitely want to showcase the right places. And after Dabs and Dinner, We're going to have another episode of Data and Debate. We're still taking requests on potential debate options. We have a lot of different thoughts of our own, but please comment if you think of any type of different debate topics or different types of data questions that you may have. We love taking people's questions.
Please reach out, comment, DM us, let us know what you would like to see us debate, and at the same time, if there's anything on the tax side or on the accounting side that you want to know about, feel free to reach out to me at either the Terp CPA on YouTube, the Dabs and Show here, or as well as Joint Accounting PLLC on Instagram. Because anytime anybody has a question, I don't want anybody to be left in the dark or having to search on their own, hoping to find the right answer. I want to make sure everyone is taken care of and is at the same time having their questions answered. Because there could be things that on the tax and accounting side that I'm not even thinking about talking about, but you have desperate needs for. You really want to know, how does metric tie out to everything at the same time? Okay, well, we can have a discussion about that. There could be just various topics, so please comment, DM, reach out to us, and let us know what you'd like us to talk about, what you'd like us to bring up, because we're here for you at the same time.
And with that, the last episode is going to be Dabs and Dispensaries. So this is a really special one. This is going to be where we travel to a dispensary and we essentially review it. You know, we're big, huge, massive fans of concentrates, so I'm going to go in and do a review of the concentrates. We may buy or we may fly 50-50. I don't know. If there's something that catches my eye, great. If not, we're going to stick to what we have. But we're going to go look and see what's out there and shine light on some of the really awesome dispensaries in Michigan. And same thing, any questions, comments, any dispensaries out there that want us to come check you guys out, hit you guys with a review, we'd love to do that. I love hitting dispensaries and seeing everybody's different process, because everybody always has a different way of doing it and interacting with everybody. Everybody's so nice and friendly, and I'm a big fan of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to me, the biggest thing that I want to make sure that we accentuate with that is when we're doing these reviews, we're giving our honest opinion. This isn't just, oh, well, so-and-so's sponsoring the episode or so-and-so invited us over. That doesn't matter to me. As much as I would love to be like, oh, my personal relationship with so-and-so matters or something like that, in the context of testing out concentrates and giving you guys an honest opinion, it can't matter. Because if I'm, in my opinion, creating a bias in my head related to who I'm going to visit, that's not fair to the consumer who's looking to me for a review or looking to us for the review of these concentrates. Because you want to make sure that you're actually buying and getting the best thing out there. So if someone's hyping it up because they really like so-and-so or they really like such and such brand, that's not us. I refuse to do that, and I will be honest, and if it breaks some hearts and hurts some people at the same time, I don't apologize.
Shit happens.
Because that's just my opinion.
Grow better weed.
And it's not meant to be negative, it's not meant to be mean, it's just, that's my opinion. If my opinion doesn't line up with yours, then that's cool. And it doesn't have to.
It happens.
And just like your opinion may not line up with me, because there may be some concentrates on here that you love, and you would just, nope, that's my brand, and you will live and die by that brand. And that's fine. There's no problem with that. I actually have a lot of respect for that loyalty that they've been able to create with you and that brand. But at the same time, if it's not a brand that I enjoy, or it's not a brand that Paul enjoys, then we're not going to tell you we like it. We're not going to tell you, oh, it's so nice. It may be good in its own ways, but it may not be what we're looking for. So just want to make sure that that's brought up at the same time, because I feel like some of these channels, some of these people who do reviews, they are hyping it up. They're kind of creating a bias with it. It's like, oh, well, so-and-so gave me so much concentrate or gave me so much stuff, so I have to give them a good review. And to me, as much as I'd love to, like, no, I don't love that. What am I saying? I don't like that thought process. As much as that would be cool, like, I don't know. It
doesn't jive with me.
It just doesn't work. It doesn't, like...
It's either good or it's not. It's just, sometimes truths are hard, and that's called life. And that's part of, what a lot of our debate and data topics will be about, is just straight up life fact. Doing your taxes is very, very important. If you own a business and you don't have a person that runs your books to make sure that you're in compliance on all regulatory standpoints, Do you understand the money that you could owe from small and big money F-ups? So
especially in this industry.
Yeah.
That's one of those things we don't understand. Like a lot of these companies don't understand. Estimated payments are not small in this industry. As much as, like, especially if you have a.
You don't pay taxes once a year. You pay them quarterly.
Oh yeah, especially as a business with a dispensary storefront, I've seen estimated payments anywhere between 250 to 700K, and that's estimated quarterly payments. Just to show you how much revenue these dispensaries are able to generate at the same time. But if you're not ready for that, because think about it, like, do you have 250K to 700K just at the call? Well, if you don't, well, you're not going to be able to pay that estimated payment, and you're going to be looking at penalties, interest, and all sorts of pain down the line. That just isn't worth it. So if you make sure that you're on top of your estimated payments and that you have a good CPA who's giving you a reasonable estimate, because at the same time, your cost as a dispensary storefront, the only thing you're allowed is your cost of goods sold, and cost of goods sold for a cannabis dispensary storefront is the cost of your cannabis and the cost to transport it to you. That's it. You're not getting the cost of making your pre-rolls. You're not getting the cost of your employees, all your bud tenders and everything else. You're only getting the cost of your cannabis. So if you're misrepresenting your taxes, you're going to be in a lot of pain when the IRS comes and says, no. All these deductions that you took, we're going to take those out, and then you're going to have to pay penalties and interest on all those taxes that you thought you didn't have to pay because you had improper guidance. And I don't want to see anybody in that kind of situation, or in a situation where the MRA steps in and your annual financial statement says, I need you to make these changes, and you don't make those changes, shit, you're going to be without a license. And that's just not worth it. Like,
non-compliance.
Non-compliance can be...
It's the killer of all marijuana, cannabis businesses. It's as simple as that. There's state regulations, there are tax regulations, there are business regulations. They all have to be followed lock and step all day, every day, or non-compliance occurs. And good old Uncle Sam comes in and says, thank you for all your money. I'm going to take my license back and give it to somebody else who understands compliance. And that's the name of the game. Mm-hmm. So it's just understanding that. And there's a great way to understand that. And let's do your research. And if you have any questions ever, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Tyler Trip CPA, Paul the Prophet, Prophet Life 77 on Instagram. And I think this is a great segue into the next portion of this, and that's, we like to speak freely on life and the world and just kind of talk life in general. And, there's a plate of donuts right there. I got some chips in front of me. Tyler, are you hungry? Do you want a donut?
I'm kind of thinking about a donut.
I'm feeling a donut.
Tax deadlines. Terp CPA here again, and we're going to talk about the upcoming tax deadlines and important deadlines that are coming up. And those of you that have businesses, both as a 1099 and you're doing Schedule C businesses, you don't have a company set up or anything like that, but you still pay estimated payments on your personal return, those are due on 9/15 coming up, as well as your estimated quarterly payments for your business return as well. So make sure that you're paying those on time to make sure that you're avoiding any penalties or interest. As well as 9/15 is also, this is everyone's least favorite in my opinion, is the extended tax deadline for pass-through entities. So that's going to be your partnerships and your S-Corp returns, or the returns where you have income flowing into a company and that income then gets passed on to the individuals onto their personal return. Those returns are due on 9/15, and the reason the IRS kind of changed around the deadlines, it actually used to be a little bit later, is they want to make sure that these returns are done in time for the upcoming next deadline, which is the next deadline I want to talk about, which is 10/15. 10/15 is the deadline for both C corporations as well as personal returns. So if you filed an extension for both your pass-through or your C corp or your personal, if you filed those extensions, you have until 10/15 for personal and C corp, and then for pass-through entities such as partnerships and S corps, you have until 9/15. You have up until that time to get your stuff paid in and make sure that you are in compliance. Another thing for on the Michigan side as well as on the federal side is we have estimated payments for your payroll and sales tax. So your payroll and sales tax on the Michigan side is going to be due on 9/20, regardless annually. Well, you're in luck. You don't have to file until February 28th of next year. So you're off the hook there. So now that we've got the tax deadlines and the, I don't know, sometimes people consider it the more boring stuff, but to me it's exciting. Let's move on to what has happened in Michigan, the news that's kind of happened, as well as try some of these Doritos and these donuts because I am dying. As much as I'd love to keep talking, I'm going to pass it over to Prophet here because I need some caffeine, even though I can't stop talking a mile a minute, and some food.
So some amazing news in Michigan, big news in the cannabis industry, some huge moves happening. Terra Ascend purchasing Gage Cannabis for $545 million. I'm going to tell you what, that is insane.
It's a lot of dolls.
A lot of dolls. Yeah, that is a truckload of doll hairs. I'm going to tell you what. It's just another example of massive corporate cannabis moving into Michigan, making moves. Hopefully Terra Ascend is friendly to the Michigan caregivers and tells the MCMA to go to hell. You know, hopefully they're people who, you know, care about the people who buy their products. You know, hopefully, you know, time will tell. Time will tell, but it just goes to show how important the craft cannabis market is. And, you know, some recent news out of Oregon showing the craft cannabis market making big moves and actually in a lot of different areas competing and outcompeting the corporate mass grow, mass product launch, grow the booth, sell the booth. You know, that they're actually beating them out, you know, dollar for dollar. And it's very interesting to watch and see how the market evolved. And you look at Michigan and can kind of infer some of the same thoughts that our market's going to see that same craft cannabis dominance because, quite frankly, you look at the market now, anytime you go to a dispensary that rocks a huge, massive, I don't give a shit brand, the quality is just not there. The terps aren't there. I mean, did a dispensary in the last 6 months in the Lansing area, the Botanical Co. Quick shout out to them. My visit was amazing. It's where I got this glass piece from. And they focused 100% on craft batch cannabis. Mm-hmm. And talking to them, the guy that sold me on it, I can't remember any of their names, sadly. The product was so good, my short-term memory did not kick in. But I learned some good about a piece of glass, an amazing piece of glass. This was made from a crafter in Lansing. And anybody at Botanical Co. sees this video, if you can shout out the guy for me in the comments, that would be amazing because I can't remember any of his info. But that's what they focused on. And that was one of the first times ever that I've gone to a dispensary and gotten good product. You know, and this was years back. Same concept. You know, I got pre-rolls from a craft farmer, and they were amazing. But the other side of it, 8 months later, that dispensary still had those craft pre-rolls, and it was the same pre-rolls that they mass bought 8 months prior. So it was amazing. It was quality, but by the time they sold through all of it, the quality was completely gone.
I feel like we see that a lot in the industry with, there's a lot of people who have good quality flower, really good quality flower, really good quality product. Their problem is though, their brand and their awareness. They're not creating the marketing. They're not able to create the awareness around their brand. I mean, that's one thing in the cannabis industry that to me is so important that I think a lot of companies forget is, okay, yeah, everybody likes to smoke cannabis. Everybody enjoys smoking cannabis. Or a lot of people do at least. And that doesn't mean that you're just going to print money. Just because someone likes to smoke cannabis doesn't mean they're going to know about Jim and Sally down the road who are selling the best cannabis out there but they don't have a clue who they are.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you grow the best, like it matters, I'm sorry.
Well, no, because this applies, I'm so happy you bring this up, Tyler, because this applies to everything in life, okay? We saw this in hemp, and you see it in every emerging market. Everybody dives head first in because it's an emerging market. They see other people making money, and they think, well, I'll grow it and it'll sell because the market's hot. And by the time they get their crop out, market normalizes, kinda, and then oversaturates instantly because everybody that jumped in, their crop comes in. And now compound that on the fact that they don't know how to sell it. And compound that on the fact that most of the time you're working with people in the industry that came over from the illegal marijuana market into the legal market, the legacy market, to make deals, hemp deals. And you see a lot of just fraud and tomfoolery and sadness, and it's
a big mixed bag.
It's a big mixed bag. And that's the thing with emerging markets, is in any business, if you grow corn, you got to know how you're going to sell it. You grow beans, you grow sugar beets, anything. You got to know how you're going to sell it. So it's just like in our business. If you open up a store, you have a business, you need to be able to provide your service and get your service out there. Because if you don't, there won't be any people who come in. And that's the idea with what we're talking about there.
Well, exactly, and that's why marketing and creating that brand awareness and getting your name out there and mingling with the community and really embracing and getting into the community and diving, in my opinion, head frickin' first into all this is the only way to go about it, because if you don't, this market will eat you alive, especially if you're a dispensary. And I keep going back to dispensaries because dispensaries get the rawest end of the deal. Like, people think, oh, I'm going to open a dispensary and it's just going to print money.
I'm going to make all this money.
And yeah, to an extent, it does print money. I won't deny that in the slightest. There are some dispensaries making a killing. But like I said before, with these estimated payments, if you're not paying attention and you're not really managing your cash flow and understanding how much cash you have coming in versus how much is going out, and you're not managing your bills, because one thing I've seen over and over is people are paying bills too early. Like, yes, it's great to pay your bills. There's no problem with paying your bills. I recommend it highly recommend paying your bills. But you don't need to pay them as soon as they come to you. So essentially, if you have an agreement to where you have a 30-day window to where you can pay that money in 30 days without any consequence, without any interest or extra fees or penalties, then take that time. Because you never know as a business owner what's going to happen. And cash flow is so important, because having that cash flow will save you in the times of emergencies. I mean, gosh, I've seen it way too often where people are strapped for cash trying to make these payments. And this is just estimated payments. This isn't an emergency. This isn't something that surprises you. This is something that happens quarterly. So when an emergency does happen, so say your facility catches on fire, how are you going to fix that without a cash flow, without having a solid cash flow? I mean, honestly, as a business owner, how would you answer that question, Paul?
The bigger question that question makes me ask is, how long can you survive without your business producing profit, generating revenue? How solvent are you?
Yeah. How liquid are you? How much money do you really have to play with? Because going back to dispensaries, if you're not well funded as a dispensary, I'm going to tell you this right now, you better be paying attention to your cash flow and managing it to the umpteenth degree. Because the amount of times I've seen owners have to dump in just way more cash than they ever expected is just, I don't have enough fingers and toes. This is what it comes down to on that. Like, there just aren't enough times to think about, like, because people, business owners, and as Paul mentioned, a lot of these people get into it thinking it's an easy cash grab. It's still a business. Even though it does make money a lot easier, in my opinion, than some other companies, for sure. Because when you're one of the few dispensaries in the city, well, yeah, you're going to make money. And if you are one of the few dispensaries in the city, you're going to just keep making money over and over and over and over. But in time,
Good planning.
if you're not planning and you're not managing that cash flow, eventually someone else is going to come in and beat you. Because that's where the solid marketing and the branding comes in, is if you have other competition in the area that is able to sell their cannabis at a higher quality, at a lower price, and people know it, you're going to start hurting. And it's great that you're printing money now, but you also have to look down the line, see what the market is going to be, because there's micro businesses coming in that who knows how saturated Michigan's going to be. We really don't know. There are unlimited licenses in Michigan, as of my understanding right now. And with that, the market could just become super saturated. I mean, obviously it's not a super streamlined process because there's tons of them out there, but they're not popping up every time you turn around. At the same time, you just want to make sure that you're paying attention. If you're getting into this industry, manage your cash flow, make sure that you're, as a business owner, reinvesting in your company, keeping that money in that company, because if you start pulling out money, who knows when you're going to actually need that money. And with that, I want to talk about Michigan craft a little bit more. Like, I'm curious to see if the market will go that way. Like, what do you think with Michigan? Do you think that there is an opportunity here, like there is in Oregon, to have a strong craft market?
I do. I believe that wholeheartedly. That the micro-business legislation that allows these caregivers an option to continue doing what they're doing on the legal side, and potential legal framework to allow a passionate craft grower to go from caregiving to craft growing, do the exact same thing they're doing, and supply their micro community. 10,000 of those could take on any corporation any day of the week. And I say that because look at beer. Perfect example of what a small business can do to the pocketbook of a giant.
I mean, look at the hard seltzer market right now. Whoever would have thought that Budweiser would be coming out with a pumpkin spiced hard seltzer? I mean, seriously. Like,
White women, I tell you.
That's
why.
what I'm saying. Like, the market creates the demand. And that's what people, I think, sometimes fail to understand. It's not the businesses don't create the demand. The market creates the demand for those products. The businesses have to give people what they want. So if the market starts demanding this craft cannabis, the market's going to get the craft cannabis. And they're going to get more of it. And as more comes into the market, the prices will become more competitive. And then the prices will drop for the consumer, hopefully, if it works in the right direction. And everyone wins because
I see oversaturation. Not to cut you off, but you
I
mentioned
do
it earlier.
agree.
Oversaturation is on the horizon. I give it a year, maybe 2 years. There are grows coming online right now that rival some of the largest grows in the world. Here in Michigan, outdoor greenhouse
I did
tech,
not think of that.
all year round growing. I mean, deep water wells, the best you can get. These guys are going to grow at scale, and they are going to put a massive influx into the market. The prices that we're seeing now, from what we've seen in every state through evolution, is a skyrocket, a plummet, and then it comes back up and levels off, and it's the cream of the crop, the craft, the best of the best that rise to the top and stay at the top. Because they build a user base, they put out a consistently good product at a fair, affordable rate, and they build brand loyalty because they time and time again prove that what they produce is good quality product. They have a process that is obviously works and is repetitive, and good product speaks for itself.
It does.
I mean, you can talk all you want about how amazing this is and how amazing I do this and our science and our SOPs, and it's like, well, good, let me see what you got. Great, awesome. Let's get high and let's see the experience. Because if it's not the experience, then everything you just said is meaningless.
Well, yeah. And based on what you just said, like, on the up, so I feel like when the market first opened on rec, that's where the peak hit. Like, that was the high, like, it was stupid. Because I went to one of the dispensaries when everything
$100,000, $200,000 a day.
It was insane. Like,
yeah.
there was a
heard some
line.
stories.
Oh, fuck, man. I waited 2 hours in line just to get into the dispensary. 2 hours outside just to get in. And then when I got in, it was $60 an eighth for everything. And the thing that got me, the kicker that got me, because I couldn't believe it, because it's just one of those things that I just don't understand why it was okay, is eighths only. Eighths only. No ounces, nothing above an eighth. No quarters.
Couldn't
no
get a
halves.
gram either.
No, and you couldn't just get a gram. You had to get an eighth. Like, how? That to me is exactly what you're saying. That peak where
They took advantage of the nostalgia.
Well, I was gonna say there's a bunch of people
I
at
like
the
that
top
shit.
who saw that peak coming. They're like, I'm gonna take advantage of all those people who want that cannabis, who want that stuff, and I'm gonna take advantage of every single one of them because I can.
Because I can.
Because I can.
I never
Because I
understand that
have
shit.
these licenses. I'm not saying, so hear me out. I'm not saying that these people didn't have to fight tooth and nail for their licenses.
Not at all.
I don't know.
No, they probably did, because it's a hell of a process. I can tell you it's a shit process, but $60.
At the same time, to me, I understand the money grab. I understand you're gonna have a short period of time.
Girl, are you crazy?
To do this? I grasp that as a business person. You're gonna have a short period of time to do this, but to me, that leaves a sour taste in my mouth as a consumer. Because why am I having to pay this premium? Like, it, not to say it was like it wasn't good quality cannabis, but to me it wasn't $60 an eighth cannabis.
Yeah.
Like, I've really only had maybe 2 or 3 strains in my life that were $60 an eighth worth of cannabis.
So, yeah.
And I've heard of people paying more. Like, I've heard of people, like, I was in a room once, and someone was talking about how they got friends who pay just these exorbitant amounts. Like, we're saying like $120 for an eighth. And I don't, like, and maybe it's just because I haven't been exposed to that part of, like, or that level of, like, quality craft cannabis to where it's, like, almost unattainable.
No, and see, that's the thing, is it
But,
doesn't
like,
have to cost that much. My Botanical go visit,
Yeah.
they had a lemon G.
Okay.
It tasted like a lemon orange Skittles. Remember the orange Skittles I had that one time?
Okay.
Like that,
So it had a
but more
little
lemony.
to it? Okay.
Yeah, and it was like it was very $10 a gram.
That's what I mean. That's how it should be. That's how it.
$10 pre-rolls too. It wasn't just $10 a gram. It was $10 pre-rolls.
Damn.
Dude, like, why would I not do that? Why would
Yeah.
you not take advantage of that? Your first visit is 50% off.
Shoot. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Well,
I thought that was a great experience. All the weed I got from there was awesome, and it wasn't an arm and a leg.
And that's a company, in my opinion, from what you're describing, is who's doing it right. Like, there's some companies where it's like, I want to visit a dispensary where I have an experience like that, where I feel like I walked out feeling good about what I just purchased. Because there's been all too many times where it's like, I walk out and I'm like, yay, I'm glad I got a good deal, but
What did I really get?
what at the same time, what did I really get? And then
You haven't
the
smoked
mo-
it yet. How do you know? You know?
Well, yeah, and the more I've educated myself on this stuff, like, sometimes when it does come to, like, so now that I understand the difference between the big cola nugs and, like, the higher up nugs and the smalls at the bottom and the terpene profile and the level of development around that terpene profile based on conversations you and I have had, now I understand why smalls are a cool idea and they're great to sell cheaply.
In theory.
In theory. But if you're really looking for the full experience of that cannabis plant,
In practice.
of that entire profile of what that cannabis plant should be, the smalls just don't have it all. from my understanding.
So the idea of consumption is, in theory, I'm a cannabis grower and I can sell my small nugs for less because it's small. Just because it didn't grow as big doesn't mean it doesn't have the same amount of cannabinoid development. And to me, I would disagree. I would say that the nug is small because it didn't grow right, therefore the cannabinoids didn't develop the same as the cannabinoids on the gigantic nugs that did grow right. And it's just a matter of opinion. So, in theory, yes, I'll sell the smalls for a cheaper price and you get a lesser of an experience. Or you can not sell smalls at all, only sell your best of the best bud, and take the smalls and extract them and have amazing concentrates. Always give the customer the very best possible experience every time. Don't downgrade the experience just because somebody wants to save money. Because I understand the idea of saving money. Every single day of my life goes into inventing products that are more affordable than anything that's out there right now, that's completely opposite thinking space age. And I always think to myself, if I ever put out a product, I want it to be the best product known to man. I don't want there to be anything else. I want there to be no deviance. I want it to be the best of the best of the best. And if it's not, somewhere. So that's the idea when you think about a product, or you think about anything that's being implemented, and you want it to be the best it can possibly be. And I just don't think smalls are the best they possibly could be. I think it's like being okay that you got a C on a test.
Okay, so based on what you just said, though, would they really make good concentrates? Because if
So
the
smalls from an
develop-
entire plant, yeah, definitely.
Okay, because
You get the full mix.
So now maybe I'm a little confused because you just said that in theory, you're not getting the full development.
Yeah.
And
So
so if you're not getting the full development, how is running those smalls?
because if you ran all the smalls from the entire plant together at once,
would it be almost like a full development?
it would be a full development.
Okay, that's
But
what
you
I
have
want to make sure I
exactly.
understood.
But you have to get, and that's the thing, is like, so to gram that out or to aider that out,
Yeah,
and to know which ones to pick,
yeah.
that's impossible. You'd have to test every single one. It would be an absolute nightmare.
Gotcha.
But if you ran it into an extract
Okay.
and turned it into a homogeneous concentrate, now you got everything. So you're not just mixing the smalls, you're mixing the trim, you're mixing everything. You sell the best nugs, the best of the best, the award-winning stuff. Everything else gets extracted.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is you're essentially like bringing it all together and you're taking out the guesswork.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no
Exactly what I'm
like
saying.
there is no like, oh well, these smalls will be good, but these ones will be okay, and these ones will be kind of mid-grade or whatever.
You nailed it. Why grade the weed?
Well, that's the thing. Like
Only sell the best of the best of the best stuff, and the rest. How much time do you spend trimming that? And that adds into the cost to sell it.
See,
You
to
to
me,
pick through all these small little things.
my guess is honestly it's going to be machine trimmed.
Oh, I bet.
Like, if it's-
But
if it's
machine trim
small,
wouldn't.
like, it's probably-
Machine trim would eat that. Like
Okay,
any type of
I didn't
machine
even
would eat
consider
that.
that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
too small. Machine trim's really good for big
God,
nugs.
So you're saying in theory, because obviously I'm
You
not.
would have to hand pick through that
well,
and put the smalls in one spot and the bigs in one spot.
That just
And
seems
to me,
like-
that seems like an effing nightmare.
Well, it sounds like a waste of money. Like unless it's already part of the process. So the only time I can see it making sense is if it's already part of the trim process, to where you're taking full branches and it's just like it's one of the nugs on there, and it just gets trimmed anyway. It's just where it gets like allocated to. Because what I have seen in trimming videos from some certain companies is they're trimming nugs, but they're only like they'll put certain nugs in one spot and then like lesser nugs in another spot, and it's like they're kind of differentiating as they're trimming. So I wonder if that's part of where it's coming from. Is they're kind of like, well, we have all this leftover stuff anyway. What are we gonna do with it? We don't have a really good processor like Volcano that's like handling stuff really and making good quality end product. That I think they're just like. I wonder if it's just like kind of gosh darn it, I'm trying to think of a another product of like a byproduct of almost like a mistake, but like they're just leftovers. So like they're the leftovers that they don't have anything else to do with, and they're like.
Well, okay. they could extract them. So like
they could extract them, but do they have anyone to extract them? Because some of the ones that I'm thinking of,
what do they do with all their trim? You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about it,
I haven't seen them come out with any concentrates. So I'm honestly wondering what they do with it. So
maybe they don't, and you are right there. Maybe they don't have an in-house extractor to extract, and that's a big portion. Extraction industry is huge. You know, when we talk about concentrates, you want to consume products that are safe. You know, a lot of all the products that we consume from Volcano, you know, comes from a patent pending process that is like the future. I mean, there's processes that were made by chemical engineers, and then there's chemical engineers that make pharmaceutical processes. I mean, GMP, it's the upteam of healthy. It is hydrocarbon, and that's the coolest thing about it is, you know, these concentrates that you'll see forever on this show, they have residual solvent levels that are lower than what you breathe over a gas stove. Safety is the main concern of these guys, and we're happy that we have them as a sponsor. We're very lucky. The long-term effects of not having an extractor is as a grower, you're kind of welded to whoever you can get to run your stuff. And if you can't find somebody good, you sell smalls in the market. You have guys that, like me, bitch about you selling smalls. So it's not a negative, but if people, and it's possible to learn. Built out the extraction labs at the grow facilities and change the mindset to, we're about to crop a room. Great. We have a team go through and take out the best of the best of the best nugs. After that, the plants get chopped, hang dried. Once they're dried, they're hand bucked, and that's it. Move on. And only the best of the best of the best nug gets trimmed and sold. And now your trimming costs get cut down by 2/3 because you're not focusing on that small shit. Run it. Rate of return, ROI. The faster you can turn a room and the less hands you got to touch to mess with stuff, the more return you will get in the end. But if you want to do a multi-step process where you touch the small nugs 50 freaking times before it finally gets to its final destination, not only is it not going to have any cannabinoids left on it, but that quality is going to reflect on you. But if you went with the perfect approach, the McDonald's approach, there's a reason why they win. There's a reason why they're billionaires. It's not because of corporate greed. There is a system. It works really well. It's buy the best potatoes. Sounds dumb, but it's a very true statement.
Well, yeah, they own their own farms. And
exactly.
They control their own supply, apparently, because they know that is how important it is. You're right. You do want the...
Period. Buy the best potatoes. They contract the farmers. They own the supply. They only take the best, perfect potato to make the perfect straight fry, and that's it. It's the same concept in any industry. Repeatability, scalability, and economically affordable products. That's it. You master those at scale, and you have a perfect mass market item. And that's where we're at now.
Well, yeah. The thing to me that blows me away about this stuff, and I've talked to you about this multiple times over, Paul, with this, is like, so as you guys just saw, I mean, I enjoyed some flour just now, but it's not my go-to anymore. Flour used to be the only thing I consumed. I would use it as part of my sacrament, and it's one of the main things in my life that I would say I use quote-unquote religiously. And it's really not even quote-unquote, it is religiously. It's something that's really important to me that I use as part of a spiritual ritual, and cannabis flower was part of that for a very long time. And now that I've had access to a better concentrate, and when I say better concentrate, it's a different concentrate. I've had different concentrates because being in California at one point, there were all sorts of concentrates on the market, from super dark to golden yellow to clear as clear can be to THCA, everything under the sun and in between. To me, what sets this apart compared to any other concentrate that I've had is it's as close to smoking cannabis flower as you will get in a concentrator. From my experience at this point, from all the different things that I've tried, it's as close as it's going to get to smoking cannabis flower, and that to me is important because the thing that I found to be a little bit of a turn off, something that just kind of drove me away from concentrates is the high was almost debilitating. Like it was like and not saying it can't be sometimes if you overdo it, but like the high from a lot of concentrates that I've had before this were just super, super high and then gone like in an hour or two. Like in just a much shorter period of time in a not as satisfying, relaxing high, I don't know, as cannabis flower. Where this really does provide the same experience, the same kind of high, the same kind of, I don't know, relief in my, like, in going through and consuming that cannabis flower would, and it's just, to me, that, I don't know, it's what sets it apart, and it's what makes me know it's different. Because even in disposables, I mean, your disposable that you were hitting just a moment ago, or the disposable you were hitting just a moment ago, like this one right here, like even in the disposable form, great flavor, clean, and that's like, and this is dry. This isn't like, there's no water attachment in here. There's no extra, nothing. There's nothing. Like it's nothing super crazy or anything like that. It's just quality concentrate. Quality concentrate, and it's not like the other concentrates you're gonna see on the market. And to me, it's a step above in a league of its own for myself as a consumer, as a mainly cannabis flower consumer, because I still
Cannabis
love,
flower from California, mind you.
and I love cannabis flower still. Like that's if I can find some
We have a
great
California
stuff.
refugee here.
Yeah, okay. I'll still go for some flower, but when it comes down to it, like this concentrate is above most of the cannabis flower that I'm seeing right now, and I'd rather consume the concentrate at the same time too, because one of the other parts of it from a health standpoint that I've noticed is it's a lot better for my lungs. The vapor that comes out of either this or the in the bags, basically vaping and taking dabs instead of smoking and combusting the cannabis flower, like, has really helped my lungs. Like I don't have anything, like any sort of like, not that I had like breathing issues or anything before, but there's no kind of gunk or anything like that, like to deal with, which is nice. Like, because sometimes when I would rip a bong, like a fat bong, like we're not talking small rips or anything, we're talking milky and everything, and I would cough up some brown shit and whatever, and it wasn't pleasant. And it's something that made me, it made me kind of like, it made me look at what I'm doing and wonder, like, okay, is this really as healthy for me as I think it is? Because in my head, okay, cannabis consumption really hasn't ever been like linked to killing anyone, and it hasn't been. And so, okay, smoking cannabis isn't bad, so that's where my head went, but the fact that I was coughing stuff up made me consider, okay, maybe combusting cannabis and smoking it isn't the best way to consume cannabis. At least for me. I'm not saying it for anybody else, but for myself, I want to make sure that I live a healthy and long life, and so if this is going to help improve my lung function and make sure that I don't have any sort of thing inhibiting me in any way, shape, or form, then I'd rather do this for my health, especially.
You nailed it. Okay, so I have my wisdom teeth, my last two wisdom teeth pulled out. Today is Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, 3 days ago. And they're a non-narcotic place. They only numbed me. Shout out to Scott Ferguson Dentistry in Kimball, Michigan. If y'all need a tooth pulled, they are great. My girl Kenzie hooked it up. want to give them a shout out. And they're not narcotics, so they took my tooth out, the top and bottom, the right side, wisdom teeth, and they just did it with the lidocaine, and ripped. It was a very painful. It was painful. It wasn't like crazy bad, but I've only had cannabis. You know, that's been my savior is cannabis concentrates, dabs. You know, some of that honey. So with the dabs, and it being my savior, my biggest happiness is the fact that there are so many situations where people, especially in America, not now thankfully because they finally addressed it, but we were going through an opioid crisis for COVID. I imagine our country's still going through it.
Oh, very much so.
But cannabis concentrates can be a great gateway out from a scenario like that. Because it's better than nothing at all. You know, non-narcotic. It's a potential alternative as opposed to nothing. I always recommend cannabis concentrates for any type of pain. You know, any type of. I suffer from certain digestive issues, and cannabis concentrates have been my savior. All right, you finally ate one. How did that taste? Pickled Dorito. Is it a pickled Dorito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Are we going to use them for the dab tasting? Oh, that look! The look! Micro expression disgust. Is that bad?
No.
Not to down all the pickle lovers out there, but I'm kidding.
It's okay. So it's not bad, but it's like a pickle mixed with like a sour or I think it's the vinegar honestly that goes with it that's throwing me off a little bit. It's the extra sour.
It's like a pickle, salt, and vinegar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like it's just a little.
We're definitely using those in the tasting. These are good.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Doritos, man.
I wonder if they're dill.
Tangy pickle. That's real good. Vinegar of salpins, garlic powder, yeast extract, natural flavors, salt.
They're not gonna tell you.
Maltodextrin. No, I don't know if it's dill or not.
See, so if we're gonna talk about these Doritos, so the tangy pickle you're a big fan of. I like the tangy pickle enough. I think it's got a nice. I can't tell if it's like a dill or like what kind of pickle it's supposed to be based off of. That's the only part to me I'm having a hard time with. The vinegar really stands out at the end. But the spicy ranch, I'm kind of a fan of the spicy ranch. I think it's a little bit interesting. It's definitely not spicy, in my opinion. Like, it's got a little bit of a kick, but it's, I don't know, not spicy.
Just so we don't leave these two out. Oh, these are like, meh. Kind of okay.
Okay, I'm actually curious.
Not like crazy, like I'm not saying they're bad. I'm down with Doritos Corp. Don't hate me. I'm not down with them. I like them.
See, okay. To me, now that I have one,
Like man.
they are meh, but the 3D themselves, to me, are
Oh, I
almost,
love the concept.
like, it's like Doritos' answer to a bugle.
No, I get it. I think that's cool
Like,
as hell. It
that's
kind of looks like a bugle. It's a sealed bugle. Oh my God!
It basically is a sealed bugle.
That is a sealed bugle. Look at it. That's
Yeah.
it. They just made it shorter and they sealed the bottom. Wow.
If you
Love the
taste
innovation, Dorito.
Because if you taste it, like, the underlying base is bugle.
It's kind of bugle, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting discoveries.
Yeah.
And then I just want to give
wouldn't
one more.
expected that.
I want to give one more shout out to an
Cool Ranch is the
old classic.
The classic. I had to get a classic.
Oh yeah, you know how many times this has been a meal for me?
That is
Like I'm on a health fitness binge, right? This right here is an obvious cheat day.
Nah, we're just eating donuts because.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't just lose 50 pounds just to lose 50 pounds. Like it means something to me that like be this way. Old but gold.
I want to give one more shout out because I forgot to do this in the beginning, and that's on me. Is to Got Terpenes, not a sponsor, but just a company I'm a big fan of because they try to educate the community about cannabis and change the stigma about cannabis. So they have shirts like the one I'm wearing. So Cannabis and Friends equals quality time. My other one that I love is Cannabis and Fur Babies equals quality time because I have some fur babies at home that I love enjoying some cannabis and just loving on them, playing with them, just all the great things that come with owning pets and having cannabis at the same time. And I love Got Terpenes for changing that stigma because it's not just about the fun side of it, they're also educating. They have shirts with different terpenes, humulene, limonene, and educating you about what each of them represent, what kind of flavors come along with it, and helping people understand that cannabis and terpenes aren't just meant for cannabis consumers. They're meant for the world. They're meant for people who want to heal. They're meant for people who have ailments that they never thought they could heal from. I mean, the amount of times I've seen stories or heard stories from people about how cannabis saved my life or cannabis saved me from this pain or that pain. I mean, for myself, cannabis is a really important part of my life because from a mental health standpoint, cannabis really helps me in certain ways with certain mental health things that I deal with a little bit of depression and a little bit of anxiety. And those things that cannabis, along with meditation, good eating, obviously this is not a good example of it, and exercise.
Today is a day of indulgence.
Have been a really good thing for my mental health. And I don't think I would be where I'm at today without cannabis, honestly. I don't think I would be the person I am today without cannabis. Not saying that I couldn't live without cannabis. My point is, cannabis has helped shape me into who I am today. And I really want to thank the cannabis plant as just in general, and all the people out there, like Jack, like, I always draw a blank. Please help me. Mr. Hashbash.
Adam.
Thank you. Like Adam, like the pioneers out there that have just fought.
John Sinclair, thank you.
Yes, have fought for this plant. I just want to say thank you to them and to the plant itself for helping so many people out there like myself who deal with things like the amount of people that have been helped with PTSD. That one to me is just a game changer because we have so many veterans out there right now who just basically are forgotten sometimes. That's why we have the statistics that we do about veteran suicides and things. And that's why we have organizations like the Veterans Walk and Talk and the Weed for Warrior Project and other organizations like such that support veterans and help them get access to cannabis and help them heal. And those organizations, from my understanding, from what I've seen through Instagram and things, are across the nation. So find them on Instagram. Reach out if you are a veteran in need. If you're feeling alone and you need someone that has dealt with the experiences you have as a veteran and who you want to try cannabis or look at alternative medication or whatever, reach out to them because there's no reason that any veteran should be alone right now and should be without a life-saving medication such as cannabis that can really help you with such things as PTSD because it's a horrible thing for someone to have to deal with and to have no remedy for, aside from my understanding, debilitating narcotics that just, how it's been described is take away your life. And cannabis, for a lot of people, have given people back their lives. So I just want to add that too. There's just so, I've been a part of this community in different ways for so long that I have a hard time not shouting out all the different organizations that I really think are
making a good, serious difference in this world, who are educating, who are helping people heal in this crazy, messed up world that we live in sometimes, where there aren't people just actually giving out real helping hands. And it's great to see organizations that do, and that do want to make a difference and do want to change people's minds about the stigmas around cannabis, both for the veterans as well as companies such as Terpenes. So I just I just wanted to share that. Sorry.
No, it's good.
Sometimes
It's
I just
good.
go off.
It's good. And on that note, we want to thank you for tuning in to the Dabs and Show, episode 1, Dabs and Debuts. Please like, follow, share, subscribe. We're going to be coming out with 2 episodes a month from now until the end of the year. We look forward to interacting with you guys in the comments section. Please put your ideas in. A lot of different episodes, a lot of different ideas, and we look forward to the future with you.
Exactly. This has been the Dabs and Show with the Terp CPA
And Paul the Prophet. Thank you.
Have a good one.